We want some more settings in Rhino Render just to help you get your setup done as quickly as possible. So the question is, how do we create or how do we view the environment which we've set up in the render viewport? So here it's under rendered. It currently doesn't show even though it's loaded. So if I just render this quickly, you'll see. There we go. All right. So, and then you can see they've got little transparent helmets on as well. So that's what's actually going on in the background. There are a few things to pay attention to. Number one, go to rendering, and then make sure that under backdrop you've got 360-degree environment loaded. Now, a few things before we move on. I've actually switched my sun off, and I've got this Walden pond used for the skylighting and for the reflections. You can switch it off if you want to, and then you can adjust settings. But this actually works pretty well, so you don't have to worry about the sun settings if you don't want to. So also on ground plane, just make sure that it says shadows only, or switch it off. But I actually want the shadows to show, so I'm going to leave it as it is. All right, so the way to do this is you need to load 2 more of these tabs. So you've probably got a few of them loaded. The way to do it is to right click on any one of these tabs, and you'll see all of the possible tabs appear. So I'm going to switch off the ones which I had to switch on again. So if I right click in this, make sure you select environments, and that'll bring up the environments tab. So that's Walden Pond. And then also make sure you select display. Okay, so display has all sorts of settings which are going to be terribly useful. I'm just going to put this back to, let's just see, background, solid color. All right, so the reason that I'm seeing a solid color in here, currently it's showing surface edges. All right, the reason I'm seeing solid color here is because I've selected it. That'll be the reason why you don't have the environment showing. So let me just show you how these will help. For instance, if in our 360 environment we wanted to change the position of this, we could go into the little pencil, and then you could move this around, and you see that the environment is changing in the viewport at the top, but not inside here. And that's going to happen regardless of what we do to change how that rendered viewport appears. I'll show that to you as well. So let's just switch that off. All right, so watch what happens when I go to display, and under background I select render settings. Where is it? Use render settings. There we go. There's my viewport. Okay, now I can move. Currently I can move around with this item, but I can't move the environment independent. So let's say I want to keep the 2 little Lego figures as they are, but I want to move the environment. Well, if I try and do that through this one here, it'll do it, but you won't see it until you click out of that. So the way to do that in real time, make sure that the tab is open, and inside here you'll be able to move this around at will. Okay, you can even change the altitude. So all right, so that's the way you do it. Probably 0 degrees is where you want to be, and let's put this somewhere in the middle of the trees, something like that. All right, so it's those 2. It's this one here, and then by the way, there are all sorts of things that you can do in here. I'm not going to show them to you now, but some of the ones you want to look at, you have to edit rendered settings, and then this will bring up this options dialog box, and you can go to things like shadows, for instance, and you can increase the sharpness of the shadows, but just be careful because that makes rendering time much slower, and reaction time. And you can change the shadow color, which is not really going to help you in this situation, but if you're doing something a little bit more graphic, it would. All right, so that's the basics. And then one last thing is go to your properties bar, and because this is what's most likely happening to you, let me show you. you're probably getting just this blurred background, which is pixels. The reason for that is that if your lens length is too long, so 50 is standard, then you can zoom in and you can move around, and then 35 would be a sort of a wide angle, which would give you more of a panoramic view. Okay, so that's how you do it. Maybe two other things quickly. If you want to change the environment, go into this pencil and then click on these three dots. All right, if they don't take you straight away to the destination you want, like mine have gone back to my own personal settings, what you do is you click in the HDR icon, and then you can either drag select in here and say Control C. That should work. Let's just see. Cancel. And I'm going to go back into this one, and then I'm going to click in the address bar. There we go. Control V, and it'll go to. Didn't like that. Didn't like that for some reason. Because I've chosen Walden Pond. Let's just delete that one. Right, so there are all of our different HDRs. If you type in type, you've got the HDR. So you can't view these. If you want to view them, you need to open something like GIMP or Photoshop. So here I've opened this in GIMP. You just go to File, Open, and then I've navigated to this place already. So let's just type in type here. So I get the HDRs at the top, and there we can see that's the one I've got chosen. Here's Walden Pond. I can open it. So you can get an idea of what you're looking at. But if you don't want to view all of them, what you can do is when you go to open, just click inside this little preview button if it doesn't show. So let's say Yokohama, that one's showing, that one's showing. That one there's not showing. If I just click inside, you can see it'll give you a little bit of a highlight. All right, so I'm going to leave that alone for now, and let's change this to, what was that? I kind of like the V&A Courtyard. Right, there we go. So you can change once again. Change what happens here. It's not going to appear in the viewport until you say OK, and then you can go back to environment and you can change where your little Lego men sit, and the azimuth, the altitude, something like that. And then you can move this around, scale them down or up, and render. Oh, right, one last thing, just to show you how to change the helmets. If you want a clear item, you can create it. So I've actually created one already. You can create it from plastic if you want. So let's go to plastic. And under plastic, you can set the transparency to say 100%, and then choose a color. So, you know, whatever color you want. I'm going to leave this as clear, and then you just apply it to that. No assign to objects. Let's see if I render. Oh, I seem to have done the wrong thing. It's that one there. Assign to objects. All right. So it doesn't always give you a nice clear material. The best thing to do is to use glass instead. So let's choose glass. Give that a color. Let's bump this up. And then obviously you can choose how clear or not clear you want it to be. And I've changed that on the fly. And just to show you how it renders, don't know if you'll see it in this. Yeah, that might not. Yeah, that is actually a whole lot clearer. All right, so if I zoom in, right, it's not gonna render at a very high res at the moment because I'm in the preview render. And that's how you do it. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.